Good afternoon. My name is Steve Schrag, and I'm a board member of the Connecticut Council on Occupational Safety and Health, ConnecticOSH. ConnecticOSH is a coalition of unions and occupational health professionals working together to try to reduce hazards on the job. Becky McClain and the Middletown gas plant explosion are two examples of what workers face every day. It's the fear factor. Workers are afraid to raise their voice when it comes to the hazards they face on the job, because supervisors can find a million different ways to make their lives miserable, even if they don't fire them. And employers are not afraid of the consequences of not providing a safe and healthy workplace. When the cost of a disaster like Middletown, ConAgra last year in North Carolina, was $100,000. So essentially it's a Christmas party. When you're talking about $1 billion plant, we're not talking about much of a fine there. OSHA has about 1,700 inspectors for 7 million private sector workplaces. That's about 4,000 workplaces per inspector. OSHA is clearly understaffed. Now there's new leadership at OSHA, which hopefully they'll be able to figure out how to increase the enforcement of the law. This is the first time in a long time that we have people at the head of OSHA who do care about workers. But that's 30 years of bad management they have to turn around. It's been 35 days since the Middletown gas plant explosion. That means 560 workers have died in this country since then from workplace hazards. That's the equivalent of 2 plane crashes. Now, United Flight 7302 left Hartford today at 3 p.m. from Bradley. God forbid that crashed. God forbid there were 2 crashes like that. But the fact is, if there were 2 crashes like that, you know there would be a lot of people paying attention to the problem. They don't pay attention when it's workers who die by themselves. We need to do better. We are expecting that our federal representatives will co-sponsor and fight to pass the Protecting America Worker Act, H.R. 2067 and SB 1580. This legislation would reduce the workers' fear factor by strengthening the whistleblower protections in the law. It would increase the employer's fear factor by making criminal penalties more likely when workers die on the job. There's no excuse for Connecticut elected officials not to support this legislation. There's no excuse why Congress should not pass it before July this year. We're going to work to make that happen. We don't want any more workers like Becky McClain or the 6 workers who died in Middletown to face these problems again. We know we can do better, and we will.